KMES English Medium Junior College welcome its 11th standard students for third online lecture of psychology for chapter 2nd branches of psychology. Topic: theoretical psychology. Previous lecture. Students, in the previous lecture, we have studied about introduction and branches of psychology, in which we have seen how psychologists try to understand and help people to solve the problem in everyday life. We have studied the importance of psychology in modern times and how psychology is useful to understand behavioral problems. We have studied that there are about 50 branches of psychology that are existing today to understand human behavior. We have also studied the new branches of psychology that has emerged to deal with psychological issues faced by people. Some of the new fields that has emerged in currently are sports psychology, cyber psychology, etc. Today we are going to study the branches of psychology. In that we will be studying in detail about 2.2.1 theoretical psychology. We have already seen that there are about two broad areas of psychology. One, theoretical psychology. Second, applied psychology. What is theoretical psychology? Theoretical psychology is the concept that deals with theorizing about individual response. Theoretical psychology. One, area of specialization. Psychology as a theoretical science includes many areas of specialization. These areas of specialization are developmental psychology, science psychology, social psychology, cognitive psychology, experimental psychology, abnormal psychology, and many more. Second, main focus. Psychologists working in theoretical fields focus mainly on conducting research and formulating theories. Third, basic focus. Psychologists working in theoretical fields, their basic focus is on developing principles and establishing law to explain human behavior. Sub-branches of theoretical psychology. It is important to note that there are various sub-branches in theoretical psychology. However, to limit our scope, we will only be looking to 6 main branches of theoretical psychology. These 6 branches are 1. Developmental psychology, 2nd. Child psychology, 3rd. Social psychology, 4th. Cognitive psychology, 5th. Experimental psychology, 6th. Abnormal psychology. Developmental psychology. Developmental psychology deals with finding out new information about changes that take place during childhood, adolescence, and why people behave in a certain way as they do during old age. So, to find out the changes that happen during the entire lifespan, this quality of an individual falls under developmental psychology. Developmental psychology thus studies the changes in behavior from conception to death. Developmental psychology is a scientific study of how and why human beings changes over a course of their life. Second, its aim is to explain how thinking, feeling and behavior changes throughout life. Third, developmental psychology may study a specific period of life, such as childhood, adolescence, adulthood and old age. Fourth, it examines change across three major dimensions. These fields are physical development, cognitive development and social development. Child psychology. Child psychology deals with finding out connection. It finds out the cause of misbehavior in children. How separation of parents affects a child. Why do some children suck their thumb? So, first, it deals with the biological, psychological and emotional changes that occur during childhood. These changes occur as an individual progresses, being dependent to becoming independent. Second, it studies the problem related to children. For example, psychologists working in this area may study problems related to children such as lying, bunking school, stealing, bedwetting, etc. Third, it uses standardized psychological tests. So, psychologists use standardized psychological tests to measure the intelligence and adjustment qualities of the children. Fourth, it conducts research on childhood span. It means they also conduct researches on effective child rearing practice, role of reinforcement in motivating children, etc. Social psychology. Social psychology deals with finding out the relationship between an individual and his environment. It questions are what instigates the mob to resort to violence? When do people follow norms and when do they break rules? Why are some qualities valued more in some society and less in other societies? So, the focus is on individual response to group influence. These qualities fall under social psychology. So, social psychology studies how an individual influence and get influenced. We spend much of our life in the presence of others, with whom we interact in a variety of ways and in different settings. So, the work of the social psychology is to study how an individual influences others and how they get influenced by the others. According to Mayo, social psychology refers to the scientific study of how an individual behavior is affected by others. Second, it examines issues such as cooperation, conflict within the group. So, the primary focus of social psychology is to understand how individuals are affected by other individuals. Third, they study qualities like attitude, prejudice, friendship, or leadership of an individual. Cognitive psychology. Cognitive psychology focuses on specific cognitive abilities. They try to find out the factors that affect the span of attention of an individual. They try to find out why and when do people forget, and how does use of language affect concept formulation. So, cognitive psychology, it focuses on higher mental processes such as thinking, reasoning, and decision making. Second, it is concerned with the study of attention, perception, language development, thinking, memory, problem solving, etc. Third, it conducts research on topics such as how does memory disturbance occur? What are different types of learning styles and learning disorders? What causes them? What leads to speech impairment? What does the decision-making mechanism work, etc. So, the mental processes studied in cognitive psychology. Cognitive psychology studies the mental process like human intelligence, language, thinking and problem solving, memory, attention, perception, etc. Experimental psychology shows how experiments are conducted on human behavior under experimental psychology. It shows us is it possible to conduct experiments on human behavior. Second, it tries to make us understand how to study human behavior, how we can devise the principle of human behavior through experiments, etc. So, experimental psychology, it studies the fundamental cause of behavior. Second, it conducts experiments to study how people react to sensory stimuli and perceive the world. Third, it deals with such problems as sensation, perception, etc. So, experimental psychology studies how people learn and remember, reason and respond emotionally. It deals with such problems as sensation, perception, learning and memory. The method of investigation in this field is done in the laboratory. Ivan Pavlov has conducted an experiment on classical conditioning, taking dogs as his subject. Abnormal psychology. Abnormal psychology focuses on abnormal behavior. It tries to question why do some people behave abnormally. What are the causes of depression? Why are some people extremely suspicious? Why some people have extreme mood swings, etc. So, abnormal psychology is the branch of psychology that studies unusual patterns of behavior, emotions and thinking. Second, it aims to study the cause and factor leading to abnormal reactions. For example, excessive suspiciousness, extremely mood swings, perceiving objects or situations which are not real, mental retardation, extreme fear of object, animal or situation, etc. All these topics are studied under abnormal psychology. So, students, in this lecture, we have seen what is theoretical psychology. In the next lecture, we will be studying about the applied psychological branch.